Maurice Bernard has been on General Hospital since 1993. He's best known for his role as Sonny, and he has an amazing story to tell that actually coincides with his character. Not necessarily the mafia part, unless that's something I don't know, but other parts of his character, and it's helped him win Emmy Awards. And he has truly taken something that was adverse in his life, and he has turned it into something absolutely positive, not only in his life, but in helping other people to understand the value of the state of mind. And he is here with us today to share the value of the state of mind with you and how it correlates with awakening the power within. And Maurice, where is Mr. Maurice Bernard? There he is. Wow. Everybody give a warm welcome. Yes. Thank you for being here.
Actually, what it is. This is such an honor.
This is fantastic. I love women.
Yes, we know. It's been what, 2 years that last time we saw each other?
Oh, there I am.
Yes, there you are.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years, yeah.
And since then, you have been flying. You've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I just got off a tour across country, 14 shows in 17 days. It was fantastic. A lot of mental health talk. People are suffering out there in the country.
You seem to be out of breath. Would you like some water or something?
No, I'm just, I'm out of shape, so
We should call Lawrence back in and let you know how perfectly you are.
Right.
So, Maurice, I know you have been on General Hospital and everything, but my event being, it's all about mind, body, soul, heart, connection. And when I asked our beautiful Anna said...
Anna Demergis?
Yes, Anna.
Oh, Anna Demergis.
Thank you, Anna, for
Where is
this. She's right here. Are you
she's
kidding?
right in front of me.
She's, wherever you are, she follows.
Yeah. Or I follow her.
You follow each other.
One, yeah.
Maurice, let's talk candid. But first of all, before we go, one of the most candid things I want to say is happy birthday to Paula. I know it was her birthday a few days ago.
Yeah, my wife, I met my wife when she was 16.
Wow.
I was 21. And then I was put in a mental institution. I asked her out at 16, and then I decided maybe she might be too young. It's in my book, so it's not, you know. And then I was put into a mental institution, and about 8 months later, I went back into this mall where she was working, and I asked her out again. We double dated, and I remember she said goodbye, and I kissed her, and I thought, damn, that's a nice kiss. And we've been together kind of ever since. I mean, it's a long story.
Right.
And my wife does everything. She's just a phenomenal woman, you know. But she just actually did my State of Mind show. I had to talk her into it like 50 times, and she was incredible.
You mean she was on your show?
Yeah.
Wow, you interviewed your own wife.
I interviewed my wife, and she didn't want to do it. And I interviewed her, and I aired it on her birthday, Sunday. And she was phenomenal. I mean, she was crying a little in the beginning. That's not like her because she was so nervous. She lets me be the star, you know?
Yes.
but she's actually the star. And she was great, and we talked about everything. You know, she's been through a lot with me as far as mental health and, you know, a lot of stuff. I don't know how deep you can get in here, but it's
No one is listening.
Well,
No, I
we've
know.
been through some deep stuff, and she stuck by me. And I remember she's always asked how could she have stayed with me after the things that I've done during manic episodes. And she says, we're on Oprah actually talking about it, and she said, because it wasn't him, and he was sick, and that, you know, it's like anything else, any other disease. You know, if somebody's sick and they're doing things, but that's not really them, you stay with them if you love them.
So she has never given up on you.
No.
Yeah. So there is a differentiation of if it is a mental state, it is the during what is happening. And, you know, here's the difference. You are very candid. You speak about it. And right now, it is one of the biggest things that is happening in the country and globally, mental wellness. It's being talked about. It's being recognized that there is such a thing, and it's no longer a stigma.
Exactly. Look, I did Oprah about 30 years ago. And I did it twice. And I thought that things were going to get better with mental health. It really didn't. It's the pandemic that changed it all.
Wow.
Because
You mean it brought it to surface?
Yes. If you look at commercials, this is a fact. The commercials that are on TV now, I have everything. If you have
You mean all the drugs and all the
everything.
pharmaceutical?
If you have bipolar, if you have depression, if you have psoriasis, you can go down the line. I have it all. You didn't see these commercials 5 years ago. You didn't.
Right.
But the pandemic, because I believe the pandemic woke up people who believed that mental illness was just a kind of go-to-sleep illness, and you'll feel better. What it did was, these people who, for the first time ever, couldn't run away or anything, and they had to deal with whatever they were dealing with. Then they said to themselves, oh boy, this is what it is. And it's scaring people. And I
Right.
tell you, I've been all over the country. People are suffering with mental illness.
So how do we distinguish what is mental illness? Because when there is a negative habit, we mask our emotions, we mask our pain, we mask our hurt with something, either drinking or smoking or any of that, or the drugs and the pharmaceuticals. But how do we know it is the illness or it is something I don't know how to cope with?
Well, anything that's, I believe, out of the ordinary,
Okay.
right? For instance, I'm bipolar. So how did I know? I knew I was bipolar because the things that I was doing for each of my manic episodes were out of the ordinary. Jumping in a pool with my clothes on, reading people's mind, being violent, talking gibberish, spending money on things that I normally wouldn't, right? Now, anxiety, this one's a killer for me. When you have anxiety, the symptoms, it isn't like just regular anxiety. It's panic to the point of the fear that you get when you have anxiety is overwhelming.
Okay.
It's overwhelming pain. I can't explain it. And during the pandemic, for me, it lasted 4 months, 24/7.
Wow.
Would not leave. And I had, thoughts of doing myself in, because you don't think you're going to get through it. But the reality is, like my wife says, you are stronger than you know. And 100 times you said you can't get through it, honey, and you've gone through it. And I trust me on this. When you go through these things, life, if you can either take two roads. You can take the road that's not good, not getting help, or you take the road where you get help. And if you take the road where you get help, life, God, whatever you want to say, rewards you. I'm dead serious. During the pandemic, I was ready to go, right? Since the pandemic, I've gotten a New York Times best-selling book, 2 Emmys, created a show called State of Mind. I would have never thought that was going to happen 3 years ago. Never. But see, you take it the right road.
Yes! So through darkness, we come through light.
Yes.
Yes. And I know I give credit to Paula because Paula is like embedding in you, reminding you to constantly do not forget who you are. You can go through this. And she's been with you.
Yeah, been with me for 34 years.
Yes.
But I'm going to give my wife a lot of credit, but I'm going to give myself credit from now on a little bit too.
Good. That's where I was going. It's like she's been with you, but you're the one who's standing up for yourself.
Yes, because in the past, it was hard for me to say I was proud of myself or give myself credit, but I think I'm able to now have some independence to the point of I can do it alone.
I can do this.
Because it's very difficult to not think you can do it alone, because then you're always depending on someone. But I'm getting there.
It's about time, right? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I just want to be me.
We talked about it earlier this morning and all that. It's like I am who I am, owning who I am, right? So you play the role, Sonny, and I know in one of the podcasts, I've been listening to all your podcasts, the same as I've been following Lawrence. I've never been a General Hospital person. And I didn't know much about General Hospital except Luke and Laura. That's all I knew about General Hospital. And I never watched it because my family was the other channel. Channel 4. Days of Our Lives. And every day this thing would turn. But that's what our life is. It's the sands through the glass, and it's like pebbles by pebbles. So when you were playing Sonny, you also said you owned, sometimes you would go into this manic, and it was like the role was made for you. You said, I stepped into it.
Yeah, the story goes, it's in my book. I was out of work for 2 years. Wasn't taking my medication for bipolar because I thought I didn't need it. That's the curse. And I was out of work, man, and I had a lot of it was a dark period for me. And I remember I almost got Philadelphia, a movie with Tom Hanks, and I thought it was mine. If Antonio Banderas had said no, I would have done it. But listen how things work out. I didn't get that, but GH called. My wife said, the General Hospital wants to meet with you. I said, I don't want to do a soap opera. I want to do movies. She goes, honey, we're broke. And I said, all right, I'll meet them. So I met with them and went in, and they said, there's 2 roles that whichever role you want. There's Damien, it's a mafia guy. I said, how long is that role? 2 years. I said, that's too long. 30 years later. And I said, what's the other role? And she said, what's the other role, Shelley? Sonny. I said, oh, that's a cool name. What's he do? He's a nightclub owner. I said, how long's that role? She said, 6 months. I said, that's what I want. I'll get in, do 6 months, get the hell out. Everybody will see how good of an actor I am. I'm cool. So I went in, did it. It was a very dark role. And 2-3 weeks into the gig, I had my third nervous breakdown, and I quit the show. And some bad stuff went down at that time. But I went back, and it was so difficult to go back. But I did it. And then I started doing the role, and I realized that I kind of liked the guy. I liked the character, right? And I liked the show. So I said, but he was bad. He was so bad. People hated me, man. It was like he gave drugs to a 16-year-old. He de-virginized her. Nowadays, this would not fly, but then, they hated me. So I said, you know what? I like it here. I'm going to get the audience to like me or love me. And so I changed the choices of what I was doing, and sure enough, about 6 months later, the audience was going, I hate him, but there's something I like about him. And then they put me with Brenda, and that was the end of all that. And so then
You mean that was the beginning?
Or the beginning. Yeah, right, the beginning. And then and then they made the character bipolar, and it all worked out. And it's been like
So they molded it for you.
Yeah, they came to me and they said, "Is it right if we make Sonny bipolar?" At that time, I was like, I loved it because I'm a method actor. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm you, but I'm bipolar. The character's bipolar. I'll be able to act this like crazy. People, and I did it. But doing it for 30 years now, I realized that the character being bipolar is great for acting, but not great for my mental health. And that's where I've had to. It's been a suffering for me at times, a lot of times. After 30 years is a lot to play this kind of thing, right? But it's like family to me, and they were loyal to me. Like I said, in the State of Mind that I just did with my wife, I started crying because of the loyalty that each decade has given me. Each producer has given me so much loyalty to take care of me when I go through manic episodes or anxiety attacks or depression. They've always just taken good care. Even now, I was a little sick at work, and they just take good care of me,
That's because of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you love people.
Yes.
You love service, and you love animals.
And kids.
And kids, yes. What you just said, I want to reiterate, because when you said playing the role over and over, doesn't that constantly repeat? It's like you are not only in it, suffering it, but playing it. It's like you're never out of the loop. And now you're doing a one-man stage shows.
Yeah, well.
Standing up.
Yeah, well, on the stage, what I did for those 14 shows, it's stand-up.
Yeah.
I'm not Richard Pryor, but I can do it, and I can write stuff that's pretty funny, and I do it, and then I get questions, and I've done it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always say that nothing I have done that has to do with the audience, I have failed on. Nothing. The audience has been so loyal to me from the very beginning that to me means more than anything. Now, I wanted to be a movie star. That didn't happen. I know you're going to say, well, it could happen. I don't know, because I don't really want to act that much. But that's all right. When it comes to the audience, everything else, my book, State of Mind, General, everything, I've succeeded in, because it's a beautiful following that I have.
So what feeds you? Is it the letters that you gave, the acclamation? I have in one of your shows and podcasts, in your interview, you used to say, first it was my ego. I was all about my ego.
Yeah.
Now it's about human. It's not so
Yes.
much the ego that was driving you, and we can
Yes.
go deeper, but you said there was a different place it was all about Maurice. Now it's Maurice.
Yeah, I think there's a few things. The ego will kill you, at least for me. I remember my agent saying to me, "You don't have an ego." I said, "Listen, I love being king. I don't want anybody else to be king. That's ego." Okay, and I knew it was not good. So I try to figure out if I have something that's not good. I try to figure out how to fix it. So I've been trying to work on that ego and the ego. And I think now that we're talking, everything that I've gone through as far as the pain and the suffering and all that it's God's way of saying you haven't fixed it yet. Now I'm going to make you even more humble until we get rid of this freaking ego. Okay? And I think I'm now at 60. I'm pretty good. And another thing that has helped all this is I used to care too much what people think. And that is not a good thing. Because my whole life's been because that's the way I was brought up. My mom and dad, why are you wearing that? Why are you doing this? Those people are not going to like it. You're not going to. And it's just too much in the head. Now I've gotten rid of that and I can fly. And that's why I feel like I can just I've let it go. And everything is like, even now, this honestly would have been nerve-wracking for me. Nerve-wracking. I would have been nervous out there walking in. I got nothing, man. I feel free.
You're good.
You're a good interviewer too, which is nice.
Maybe one day we can do something together. Yeah.
No, I like it. I like what you do.
Yeah. Humbleness, ego, and I think it all comes from expectations.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Expectations to meet somebody else's expectation, and which it means we just shared, LZ was just sharing, I'm good enough, and coming to the point of saying, this is good enough, I am good enough, even when my hair is not good enough, I'm still good enough, and that's okay because I'm perfect, just the way I am.
Very well said. There's a story that I tell young actors. Sharon Stone was in an acting class with Roy London, and she was doing Speed the Plow, and she couldn't do it. And every week she was not good. And he'd help her. And then finally she went in and she was brilliant. And Sharon Stone said, but why, Roy? Why now? He goes, because now you know you're enough.
Mm.
And that is exactly what you just said, but it's the epitome of how we all should just be enough, right?
Right. What has been the highlight of your life? It can be in career, it can be your grandchild, it can be just going to your farm in Temecula. What is your highlight when you want to find your happy space? What is your happy space? And you go, that's where I go to feel good.
Well, where I go to feel good is my place in Temecula, which is like my sanctuary. But I think the thing that's made me the most happy is that I'm finally realizing that I've gone through all this stuff that's so difficult, and I feel like I'm like a warrior that I can conquer it, and I have conquered it. And almost doesn't scare me now, because I think I've lived too long with fear. I think it's the fear that gets us. Of course, it's the stress, right? And from the stress comes the fear. And when you got that fear, it can take you over. And I think I'm like a fighter who says, "Bring it on, motherfucker,"
Let's burn this thing. Let's set it on fire and let it go all the way, sage it away. Right? Just let it release it. Release it. It's so good to see you smile and laugh, and it was just like this beautiful belly laughing.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that because I for so long, listen, people like even Anna didn't know me when I was dark. She didn't see me then. A lot of people who knew me back then, I'm different now because of everything we're talking about, you know. I used to see my dad, God bless his, he used to go into like supermarkets and just talk to people, you know. Mauricio, ¿qué tal la cosa? And I said, Dad, why you talk to everybody all the time? Because I'm happy. I'm happy. I can't be happy. I can talk to people. I love people. I said, I know, Dad, but it's a little embarrassing. Shut up.
Was he Italian?
Spanish.
Oh, Spanish.
Yeah, he used to always say to me two things. He'd say, Mauricio, what is worse, anxiety or depression? I said, Dad, you asked me that 50,000 times already. And then I'd say, I think anxiety is worse. And then he'd say, who's more famous, Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley? And I'd say, Elvis Presley. No. I'd say, yeah, Dad, Elvis Presley. He goes, no, because when I go to Mexico, everybody knows Frank Sinatra. So what I've realized now at 60 is I've become my dad. So I go to supermarkets and I talk to everybody. And it's amazing, and because I have nothing inside now. I used to have all this ugliness inside, and this ugliness I used to think I accepted it because I said, oh, well, I'm bipolar. So bipolar people probably have this ugliness, right? But that's not true. So once that ugliness left, and it's been like 3 years now, man. Wow, it's amazing.
It's freedom.
Yeah, freedom.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure a lot of ladies over here what you just said, we do everything not to be like our parents, and then we get to our age, and then it's like the phone rings, I pick it up, and they go, hi, Mary, and I'm going, this is Liza. Oh, you sound just like her. You are just like her. And then we get to see, wow, I do a lot of things that is just like my mom or my dad or everything. So segue to that. Who's been the most sexy or the best actress that you ever worked with and you said, that is the lady, I would work with her anytime they call me?
Well, you know, if my wife were an actress, she is literally she's so sexy, it's not even funny. But
okay, all right, right here. What is sexy to you? Because it's sexy to a woman is completely different of what a man sees as sexy.
I think, to be honest with you, I think there's a thing that I say, 3 things that I love in a woman, and that to me is sexy. There's maybe one more, but a woman who loves kids, a woman who loves animals, and a woman that when you make a joke, they don't roll their eyes.
That makes a woman sexy?
I find it very sexy. Because once they roll their eyes, I'm out. Okay?
Delete.
Yeah. And somebody who's kind in the heart. That to me is very sexy. Now, there's also the physical part about all that, right? But to me, I was always into what I just said more than the physical. And because that to me is who I want to be with, who I can stay with. You can have somebody who's just hot. That's not going to last that long. I mean, it's fun, but you know what I mean.
And you've had your share of funds.
Oh yeah, many. But I was young, you know, because I've been with Paula. I've never been with another woman in the last 34 years.
That's beautiful.
But before that, you know, I can make up for it. But
You were king.
well, I just had fun, you know.
So if we were to say, are you going to leave a general hospital to do your own? And what brought the book? Why book? Why now? Well, it was about time.
Well, the book,
What is the title?
nothing general about it. The book, everybody always said write a book, and then I did, but then I decided to write it. So then I wrote it with Sue Black, who's a film script writer, and she's incredible.
Yeah.
So we did it, and then it came out during the pandemic. So I didn't get to tour like everybody does with a book. But I believe, and then I went through that real 4 months of hell, and the book, and I still had to promote the book on Zoom with Dr. Drew, Dr. Oz, The Talk, Charlemagne the God, everybody. And they didn't know that I was literally dying. Literally. Like I wanted to say to them, can you save my life? But I knew that the cops would be at my door. So I'm just faking it. I was faking it to make it. Talking about the book and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that the pandemic made the book successful, right? And even I got a call from the publisher, are you sitting down? Are you, yeah, I thought I was in trouble. And she said, you're New York Times bestseller. But I was numb, and I remember there was not even anybody in the house. And I went outside, and one tear came down, because it's kind of what I really wanted that, right? I'm not an author, but anybody who writes a book wants that. But then I went, and then my kids came in, and I'm like, you know, I'm New York Times bestseller. But there was no, like, we didn't go out and celebrate. It was just went away. And I kind of, that was such a bad period that the book kind of, I just don't even, but when I did the tour across country just 3 weeks ago, everybody brought the book to me. And they were talking about the book like it was this great thing, and I'm thinking, I need to read this thing. You know? But, you know, so I think I'm going to write a second book.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to write a second book.
Have you come to validating yourself now?
Yeah, you know.
That's one tear. The tear, I usually say, tears are not tears because of weakness. Tears are self-validation of what you feel.
That's interesting, because I have T-shirts that say, tears are your strength, not your weakness. And, yeah, I believe wholeheartedly in that. But, you know, we keep on even Anna did it over there. She said, don't cry, don't cry. Anytime somebody cries, people say, don't cry, don't cry. But we shouldn't do that.
No.
We should say, it's beautiful to cry. It looks beautiful, you know.
It is.
But we're so used to and programmed to say, oh, but that's all right, that's all right. Yeah. But tears are strength, man.
They are.
Yeah, you put it nicely, but.
Thank you. Even in my office, when I have a client and they get emotional, I allow them to. When they cry, it's okay. And it gets to a point of bawling, and I say, there is a Kleenex if you want, you can pick it up. I never stop them by giving a tissue to them. It's not about me, it's about them. So your validation, especially being alone, I can just imagine seeing it, that you were with Maurice in one tear. It's like,
that was, but it almost like a tear came down, but I I wasn't feeling anything. But that was.
But that is feeling.
Yeah, I know. That was like, let me know that that's all right. You got
It's
that
all
too.
right. I
Because
have
was-
feelings.
Yeah, yeah. And then so everything seems to work itself out, at somewhere, somehow.
So what's next? I know you and Anna, have you started this beautiful thing happening in here, and I'm seeing everything. I've known Anna for how long? 10 years, at least. At least.
Well, Anna's very, very cool, very
She is.
sweet.
She's beautiful.
And we're doing this show called The Maurice and Anna Show. And we got picked up by a network. What's the network? Now Media TV.
Beautiful.
And the first show, which I love, because everybody who has seen us together thinks that we're into each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, you are sitting next to each other.
yeah, but
into each other.
they think that we're in love or something, and that's not happening. So, which is because we're good friends. So the first show is kind of about how I have these conversations with people at General Hospital, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be with her." I'm like, "No, you guys don't understand. She's friends with my wife, like best friends. That's not where it's gonna go." But so that's the first show, and we talk about other things, and it's great.
And you know why? Because both of you are genuine, and you came to each other and said, let's do something together for one another and for others.
Yeah, and it's a fun show. It really is.
It is.
Yeah, she's seen it. I haven't seen it, but
I've only seen glimpses of it.
yeah.
Now you're going to go on a book tour?
No.
Did you bring a book?
No. Like I said, the book. I don't even know where the books are, and I'm like.
So, is it on Amazon?
Oh, you can get it anywhere.
You can get it anywhere.
Nothing
awesome.
general about it. But State of Mind is what
So you're all about.
the most proud of.
Yes.
It's a show I created in my car. One night, I was in bed and I had a panic attack, and I filmed it because I wanted to show the audience what it looks like. And as I was doing it, Steve Harvey was on TV saying, "Can you believe all these people filming themselves while they're going through things on social media?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." Next morning, I tell my friend, she goes, "Why don't you film something talking about mental health?" I said, "Who cares? No one's going to care." And she goes, "Just do it. Put it out on Sunday on Instagram story." And no one does that on Instagram story. 8, 9, 10 minutes of me just talking about stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did it and became successful in the car. And I sold the book that way. And I started talking about everything that I've been through and whatnot. And then I left to do YouTube, and it's become this kind of thing.
Now you have a studio.
And now I got a new studio, but we screwed up last. My wife's state of mind was a little screwed up with the sound stuff, but we're getting it going. And I'm very proud of the show because I'll tell you one little thing. During the pandemic, when I was feeling like this was probably the time that I was gonna do what I didn't want to do, but it was gonna happen. I remember I was with the goats. I have goats in Temecula, but they weren't making me feel good at all, and I was in a bad place. And I went, and then I went in the house, and I prayed. And I said, "God, get me out of here. Help me." And I saw my family. And then I said to myself, if I do this, then everybody who follows me with mental health, with state of mind, will feel like they have a green light to do that also.
Mm.
And then I stopped. And that's exactly what happened.
I'm holding space for that. It's not that I am on a pause. I just wanted to validate it.
That's good.
with that, I know it was just a character on General Hospital, being Sonny. You've made a difference. Your character has made a difference. You have made a difference. And although it was just a soap opera and you were acting, what you haven't realized, you have made a difference in so many people's lives. And I have a friend. I think there's few ladies who have followed you because of your character. But one person in particular, after her mom died, because she loved the show, she continued watching yours. And because she loved you, the daughter found solace and comfort watching you. Wow. So you have been king in many ways. Not only on a character, but the difference you have made in millions of lives. And it can start with one person. So I want to commend you for not only being truthful to yourself, for saying this is who I am, and I went to the darkest moments, but I am present now. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Maurice.
Thank you. This has been incredible. Really.
So, would you like to take any questions from the audience? Would that be okay? Does anyone have anything, questions? Would you like to say something? Yes, we have questions. There's two of them. I don't have my glasses, but thank you.
So first of all, thank you so much for your honesty.
Who's speaking? Do you mind if you stand up so I can see you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm an educator, and what scares me a lot these days is, as you touched on, the state of mental health in our children. The stories that we hear on daily basis about what our kids are going through as young as 13 and 14-year-olds. I'm sorry, I get very emotional. Going through mental health and going as far as taking their own lives. Having gone through this challenge throughout your entire life, what advice do you have for educators such as me on how to deal with a child who we see is suffering?
Yeah, I saw something on 60 Minutes on children, on mental illness, mental health, and I want to do so much to help kids. I haven't dealt with too many kids, and but I'd like, especially on my show, State of Mind, I want to get more. I wanted to get a parent and a child who has mental illness, and talk about it and see and get a lot out of that. It didn't happen though. Look, it's the only advice I can give is when you're dealing with somebody, and I don't know about kids as much, but I'm sure it's the same thing. You gotta give them a lot of love and patience, and you gotta get as much knowledge about what mental illness is, and you can let them know that even though they're suffering right now or in a lot of pain, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's all you can really do. And the patience and understanding is very important, because I know with me, at times, especially with my rage, if my wife wasn't patient or understanding, it could have gotten really ugly. But she knows how to be that. Because if you try to go, it's not a good thing. But I'm with you with the kids. We got to help the kids. Please. And I'll do what I can. I really will.
I really think they are lost.
Yeah.
Anyone has any other questions?
There are
Irma,
people
did you have a
crying
question?
here.
Yeah. Was that good? Thank you.
So, thank you, Maurice, for being here. My question to you is, it sounds like you've lived a very rich life, and out of all the things that you've done, what has been the one thing that has constantly brought you joy, to that mental state of mind where you feel joy?
The joy where I've found joy is the peace I have within. There's no better joy than the peace I have within, because I didn't have that forever. For 58 years, I didn't have peace. I just thought it was who I was, to not have peace. But when you got peace within, there's no better feeling for me.
Beautiful.
How did you get peace within?
The peace within came from, I think, the enormous amount of suffering I've done. And you go through that amount of suffering, you start feeling peace, because you're like, you ain't getting me. You haven't, I'm still standing. I ain't dead. And then you start feeling this, that's what happened.
You come to believe your own strength.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things I talk about it, I'm all about words, and which is BS, a lot of BS. And that stands for belief system. Your own belief system within yourself, the strength, the belief, the words, the affirmations, and it's not just reading something, it's believing. So when you come to believe, I did it, I can, and I matter, is when you find the peace within.
Yeah. I mean, look, the other answer could be my grandkids and my goats and my puppy dog that I got.
But they put a smile on your
that's
face.
amazing. I love that. It's also that. But, it's really that peace within that I've never experienced 100%. People say to me, "What about when your kids were born?" And I gotta be honest, no. But in the last couple of years, man, it's so nice to not have nerves, man. Woo!
You mean not to have nerves that are like
That
this,
get
but
you.
have the
Yeah,
nerve
just-
that
just-
is like this.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful. All right. If there is no more questions, is there a question?
I do. I
Oh.
have a question. So I did just get out of a relationship with somebody who had bipolar, but really was more borderline personality, right? And knowing where to go to learn about it is difficult. Like, where do you go to learn about it, and how do you provide that space for somebody, like when they're in mass depression and can't get off the couch for days, and the anxiety is with it, and they're in pure turmoil? It's a little bit along the lines of the educator, but it's really like, I don't know if you have any insights as to what that person could use or could need. You said love and space, but for 3 years, like every day, how do you, it's hard.
Yeah, you just gotta, that's a question for my wife, yeah. And this last time, she doesn't admit it, but I saw it. I was going to her every day, every morning, crying. I can't get through this. And I remember 3 months, this is the first time I ever saw it, where I walked in the room and she looked at me and almost like, oh, I can't. She was like,
Not again.
yeah. And that's not like my wife. Because she's like, I'll tell you a story what my son did. but I may cry a little bit, but that's all right.
It's okay.
I was having a tough time, and I was crying. This was bad day. And he got in the car, and I was crying. And I said, buddy, I ain't gonna make it, man. He goes, why, Dad? What do you mean, Dad? I said, I can't go through another day. He goes, yes, you can, Dad. And I said, I don't think I can. And he says, yeah, you can, because I'm gonna get you through this, Dad. And he did, and that's one of the, those little things like that, you pull you, it gets you some strength, and you keep, that's what makes you, but like depression, with depression, whatever you don't want to do when you're depressed, do it. If you're in bed, which I call quicksand, I literally, when I escaped from the mental hospital, I had 8 months of depression. I would literally roll out of bed, but I knew I had to roll out of bed. And then a couple days later, I could maybe not roll. Maybe it was just getting out. But I didn't stay in that bed because I knew if I stayed in the bed, you don't want to work out? Work out. 1 rep, whatever you got to do. That's how you deal with it. And anxiety is a whole different animal. Mm-hmm. What I did just now, I didn't think I was going to have another panic attack like I just had about a month and a half ago. And I listened to Eckhart Tolle. And I would go to my pond and sit out there with nature and listen to Eckhart Tolle. And the anxiety would be there, and I would sit in it, in the panic. Because what you tend to do is you run from the anxiety. And that's the worst thing you can do. And I call anxiety Freddy Krueger. Freddy's always, I got you. And I'm like, not today. But I would do that every morning, and guess what, man? It helped. Mm-hmm. It helped.
So instead of fight or flight, you went into pause.
Right. Yeah. It's not easy.
I know.
Because it just wants to get you, man. But I did it. So those were two. And then with bipolar, with manic episode, listen, just stay on your medication. I've been on lithium 30 years. I haven't had a breakdown in 30 years. When I first had my breakdown, I got off my medication, had a breakdown. Went back on it, got off it, had another breakdown. I've stayed on it for 30 years. And I've been cool with manic episodes and stuff.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
There you go. So in closing, there is another question. Yes.
How do you feel about people that might have been misdiagnosed with things? Like you say, if you're bipolar, stay on your medicine. I was diagnosed as bipolar in the past, and I have not been on medicine for 11 years because I found natural ways to balance myself. So I'm just curious as to when certain traumas or situational things in life can present as a mental illness that may be the wrong diagnosis, and how we can overcome that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the wrong misdiagnosis that's not cool, right? But if you can do it in any other way, like...
Do you meditate?
Yeah, well, my problem is I do all that when it's already too late.
Okay.
But
So do you have a regiment? Do you have a ritual every day?
yeah, what I do is I pray in the morning. And I was doing these, and I'm going to go back to doing it, these exercises where I breathe. I think it's Deepak Chopra said, go like this, and just don't think, just look, at something or whatever, but just stay for 10 minutes quiet. Kind of cool. That was kind of cool. I work out. I try to eat well and all that kind of stuff. And there's been a lot of times where I don't want to take medication, right? I think it's because I'm feeling so good. And when I found that joy, I was like, I don't need medication. But my wife's like, nah, honey, stop it. So, but if there was an alternative, maybe I would do the alternative. But see, lithium's just a salt that I need. So it's not. It's like my psychiatrist says. Big Pharma doesn't like lithium because it's cheap, and then there's no money to be made there. But it's a great look. I haven't had a breakdown in that long, so it works for me. But if you said that if I drank that over there, and I probably would drink that instead of taking medication. Just because you know what I mean? Exactly.
Water.
But at this point, nobody has given me that alternative.
So you have your rituals, you practice them when you
Yes,
remember them.
and the other ritual is I get in every because I don't have I don't go see a psychiatrist. I should, but I don't. But every week I'm talking to people in state of mind, and it is therapeutic.
That is your therapy.
That is my therapy, because I get to get things out. I get to listen to them, and it's amazing how it feels, how it makes me feel.
Beautiful. So I believe that's it.
I believe I can
You
fly.
can fly. Let's go. Go ahead.
I
I
don't
know
know the
you
rest.
can. Okay, do your stand-up, do your singing. I want to hear your voice.
Oh. Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah, some call me the gangster love. Some people call me Maurice. Yeah. Because I speak of the 3E band. You didn't get that on camera, see? Oh, somebody did. All right.
Thank you. That was absolutely enlightening, delightful. Isn't he wonderful? Yeah. So,
Thank you. How can I say this is look, I love doing this stuff because I just know that we all need these talks. I used to do these things and we would go back to ego and think, I'm so cool or whatever it is. I don't do that anymore. I just want to talk about mental health, and because I know we all need it. Because somebody is going through something.
yes.
And then you can go back and say, look, why don't you do this? Why don't you try that? And that's why it's important. So I'm glad I came, and you were great, fantastic, really. And Anna, whatever. And that's good.
So coming from you and just giving me my thumbs up, I think that's wonderful. I did good, huh?
Yes, because and Anna knows I don't bullshit.
I know.
So if you weren't good,
Neither do I.
Yeah, I know. And if you weren't good, I just wouldn't say anything. So.
Okay. So I have hope.
You got it going.
And somebody here, it was funny, during the break, they said, Liza, how is it possible with all your energy and everything? How come you don't have a man? And I'm like, well, I don't know.
You should get a man.
Yeah, should. Should is not a good word in my vocabulary.
Is there any men here?
There's a lot of men. Well, next time you find me the right one and
right.
you think it's the right one, no. Okay. With that, I want to say thank you so much for saying yes. And I know your arm was twisted by, it's all about connection. It's who you know, what you know, but more importantly, it's what you know about who you know. And I got to meet you in a different setting than the office, right? Isn't this wonderful?
It's been fantastic.
Oh, I love you. I can't believe I'm hugging Sonny. This is a small little gift.
Oh, I love that.
It's munchies. It's good and healthy munchies.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And you will stay with us for our book signing and everything and some pictures on the red carpet? Just a few minutes. Would you? A few minutes only. It has to be more than few minutes because we need at least 15 minutes.
That's fine.
Okay, so that's okay?
Yeah.
All right, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maurice.